Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 2 of the full stream. We already done an episode last month.
Yep.
Myself and Mike Vinyl Sparrow. Sorry, it's a little bit early in the morning. I'm still in my coffee. It's 7 a.m. on the East Coast. This time, not only with one panelist or a co-host member, whatever, but two. We have Fred and Mike. How are you guys?
Yeah, fine, thanks.
Good.
Yeah, raring to go. Really enjoyed last time, so
Yeah.
looking forward to this one as well.
Yeah, we tried to do some introduction. We weren't too deep, as you said. We were only scratching the surface. So let's see how it goes. And yeah, I'm really glad to have Fred on board this time, since we have this discussion about folk music in general behind the scene. Fred, you're the one who told the two of us to buy this incredible book, which is a massive source of information. The uh, the Electric Eden, we keep on, yeah, that's the one we keep on mentioning.
Well,
So and really glad that you could attend today's stream. So thank you. Did you watch perhaps the previous folk stream we host, or
Me?
yeah, you, Fred? Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I watched the whole of it. So no, it was good. It was you talked about classics and you talked about um, yeah, your favorite. Well, I think you listed your favorites of the UK folk scene, and you showed lots of. I can't exactly remember what you showed, but you showed a lot of records. So there was a lot of discussion, and I 100% watched it, but it was a while back, so I can't exactly remember what you showed there. There was a lot of that stuff of Electric Eden
Mhm.
from memory. So yeah, so
yeah,
we hope to.
yeah. I mean, we were very much, looking at the folk revivals, 60s and early 70s. So, it focused on
Yep.
that. Fairport, Shirley Collins, Sandy Denny. That's
Yeah.
Davy Graham, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
the
had
the classics
yeah
really.
the
Yes, exactly.
classic. We wanted to go a little bit smoothly. We also try to explain why they are in so much channel about folk music, about English. Why we decided uh, to dedicate 1 hour or two tackling this topic. And yeah, it went like yeah, we discussed about what brought us into the genre. And yeah, we made a personal list, not a must have, you must have, or I don't respect you, not such thing, but in
There's
our
no
humble opinion. Yeah.
there's no must have. I
Yeah.
mean, it's funny. It's funny because my very last video on my English speaking channel, which is what I'm using tonight as my to connect here, was on folk music. It was 40 something minutes on UK folk, basically.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I did. So I love folk music of all sorts, and it's good that we might branch off tonight from just UK folk, because it's a very wide spectrum of things we can talk about, and I think it's probably good. Going to be good to see what other things we can mention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
today,
yeah,
today,
absolutely.
27th September 2025, we cannot really start a folk stream without mentioning um, Danny Thompson's passing away. So that occurred, unfortunately, yeah, this week. Uh, I realized I wasn't really an expert. I didn't know exactly every details of his life. But when I'm taking a look of the records, I do enjoy, or songs. The other day I was listening to "Sunny Good Street" by Donovan, which is playing on. And yeah, there is this reference in the book from Electric Inn when he said he didn't want to have any boundaries. He wanted to play everything he liked. Yeah, so as I said, he was a stalwart in the English folk scene. So we can just talk about. I will show a couple of albums where he plays on.
Yeah. Well, when you announced this as a theme, I thought, well, I'll just pull out some interesting records with Danny Thompson on, because he played, as
Absolutely.
you said, he played on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll let Mike. Has Mike got some records?
I've got some. I mean, I looked on Danny Thompson's website, and he's got a discography.
Yeah.
And you scroll down about sort of 3 pages of densely packed, script there, and he's played on everything, and it wasn't just folk. I mean, probably notably played on Kate Bush's albums, The Dreaming, and I think there was another one as well.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you saying this, because one of the few albums that I pulled out was Hands of Love, actually, which is exactly what I was gonna lead into. He's on The Dreaming as well, but he plays on one track on Hands of Love. It's not that his contribution is massive. I think he plays on Walking the Witch on side 2, I think, but still, all the same,
Yeah,
you can see. Yeah,
that's right. And what was it? I'll pull out some Billy Bragg in a minute. But yes, he played single tracks, didn't he, on quite a few albums.
Yeah.
I mean, Richard and Linda Thompson's Hokey Pokey, he appears on that. But he's not a member of the band as such. He's just a contributor. And I think one thing to mention about Danny, of course, he was a double bass player, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Rather than a bass guitarist.
Yeah.
And he kept things going, for decades and decades. And it just shows the respect that people in the music industry had for Danny. So I'll show a couple of albums.
Sure.
First of all, this Maddie Pryor and June Tabor.
Oh.
Silly Sisters. And he plays on that. And I mean, there's all sorts of people. I mean, Martin Carthy's on here as well. Danny Thompson, John Gillespie, Brian Colby, lots and lots of people. But so that's two of my favourite female folk singers, particularly June Tabor. I think she's absolutely fantastic, and she gets overlooked a little bit, but that's another story, isn't it? So there's that, and then of course you have to mention Pentangle, don't you? If you're talking about Danny.
Yeah.
Well, he was the bass player in Pentangle, so that's a big slice of his career, at least the start of his career.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's the debut, of course. And there you are. So that's on the classic folk label there, of course, which is Transatlantic.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I've got
a album that is too. The debut album is quite it's as good as a Pentangle album as you're going to get, really.
Yeah.
It's a superb album.
Yes. Actually, I prefer that one that Rob is showing now.
I selected this one. I listened to this one, I think the other day, just before he passed away. And when you listen to Jack on Ryan on side 2.
Yeah.
And I think it's not only his contribution is Terry Cox or Tony Cox. Sorry.
Terry Cox.
Yeah, as a drummer. So the entire rhythm section, very jazzy, that was brought to the table. So.
But that's the thing with Pentangle, is that the sound is very jazz folk all the way through. You've got this complete melding of that sort of jazz and kind of also world, like North African kind of, in the Bert Jansch, John Renborn playing. There's a little bit of that Middle Eastern kind of twang to the music, because they were also very inspired by David Graham, who was a big proponent of that style of music. They also geared towards that kind of fusion of. I think Pentangle is endlessly fascinating as a band. All their records are interesting, and you could just play them for days and still discover things.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. But you're talking about Eastern influences. There's Zitar on Pentangle albums,
and
certainly on Cruel Sister.
And the other one I wanted to show is this
Oh
one.
yes,
yeah.
I was hoping you're going to share that.
Yeah, that's
it's now I don't have one. Would love that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just bragging for a moment. Fred told me about this record. I was very lucky. I found a copy in Toronto a couple of months before, and that's this classic John Martin live at Leeds. So, who has
he used to send them himself from his house. He used to. John Martin used to pose them himself. It was designed as a kind of a bootleg, and the label didn't sell them. He had them in his house and actually mailed them himself, which is crazy. But that some of them are signed actually by him directly. Yeah.
Oh, that is why the values in these cogs. Okay, no, okay.
Yeah, because the whole thing with Live at Leeds was that he had this agreement with Chris Blackwell that he wanted to do this kind of live record that was sort of a bit under the radar and got a few pressed, and he actually, most of them came from him directly, so it's effectively a real historical artifact. This
right. Is that album not on Ireland then?
It is on Ireland.
It is on Ireland.
It is on Ireland, but it wasn't pressed in. It's wonderful though. I mean, the playing is so elastic on it. It's such a cosmic kind of vibe, because Solid Air is such a wonderfully, again, we're in this idiom of jazz folk again, which is again this endlessly fascinating mushing of two styles of music that shouldn't really go together. So yeah. But I would like to show something whilst I'm here, since we're talking about
Danny Thompson. Yeah,
Danny Thompson. Well, look, in the Electric Eden book, if you go to the final chapters, it shows you the transformation of from the British folk revival of the 60s, 70s, and then what it sort of evolves into. And it argues quite successfully that one of the deviations of English folk is talk. And it argues that these albums, Laughingstock and Spirit of Eden, are effectively the next point forward after the English folk revival, which is interesting. And Danny Thompson plays on Spirit of Eden, which is obviously a masterpiece, and it's one of his records that is just timeless from start to finish, a melding of kind of jazz, krautrock, rock, folk music, everything in between, and it is just such a spiritual record. It's a beautiful experience. So plays on this, and he also plays on this record, and I could have showed Romu, you've got this record too, but this is also a wonderful melding of lots and lots of things. You've got David Sylvian, Olga Chukai. You basically got the whole of Japan on this. Rishi Sakamoto, John Hassel, Kenny Wheeler, Mark Isham. It's just, the cast is unbelievable on this, and Danny Thompson on double bass, on this sort of world ambient, new wavy kind of fusion as well. It's very hard to describe what David Sylvian does on this, but it's certainly a ride of a record. These are just really, for me, essential albums. They're just really, really great records. And
I mean, David Sylvian is such an interesting artist, isn't he?
Yeah, carry on. You obviously have a passion
Sorry,
for the music.
I'm just saying how interesting David Sylvian is, because he's not he's not set on a single track. He prepares to sort of experiment and collaborate with all sorts of people.
What's interesting about David Sylvian is that just to think he comes from a sort of new romantic, new wave band. What he's gone to do beyond that is, as you pointed out yourself just before, is extraordinary, because he's branched out in all sorts of directions and he's never kind of repeated the same records. He's made a lot of different things with different people, and he's never been afraid to. He's a no compromise type of artist, which he's a sort of an ambient David Bowie, I guess you would say, sort of in that kind of universe. Yeah.
Yeah, in many ways. Yeah.
The
I
other
think.
one,
Oh, sorry. Oh, yes.
I was going to say the last one I wanted to showcase here, because Romu's shown this, is an absolute wonderful. This is a wonderful record. To me, it's one of his many masterpieces. It's got this kind of dub thing going. I think from memory, Lee Scratch Perry had a hand in this record, and some of it was even recorded outside for Atmosphere, like outdoors. And you've got Steve Winwood and Danny Thompson again, and a whole lot of really amazing musicians. And yeah, I think he went to Jamaica and hooked up with Lee Perry, and he got some tips from him how to record this. But you get in the end a wonderful. It's almost that he's moved from jazz folk to ambient folk on this one. It's a total kind of ride of a record. Anyway, I'll stop talking.
I didn't get that record out because I knew that at least one of you would show it. It's a wonderful record. It's one of my favourite John Martin albums.
Yeah.
So I'll show you one that you may not know this artist. You may not know who she is, but it's Catherine Tickell.
No, never heard.
This album called Common Ground, and she's she's got the fiddle there, but she's got the Northumbrian small pipes on her lap. So I think on the back you can see. So she's absolutely excellent, Northumbrian piper, and I think this album's from the late 80s. It's 1988. And
what's a Northumbrian pipe like? Is it like a bagpipe, or
it's like a bagpipe, but it's played with bellows sort of under the arm. So if you can see the way she's holding it, so you don't blow into it. But
okay,
that certainly like bagpipes, but I think the sound is more mellow. I kind of prefer it really, but she's absolutely brilliant, and she was quite well. I think she was quite big in the late 80s. I think that's overstating it, but she was certainly sort of well known, and she produced a number of albums. And of course, you got Danny playing the bass. There you go, down there. Yeah. So if you don't know Catherine Tickell, give her a listen, because she's very good. And of course, you guys, I think you like the Breton Celtic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's in that ballpark.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
With Bombard and Biniou and all sorts of interesting instruments. Breton folk music is really, really interesting. I'm finding it fascinating as well. That sort of sound, it's really great. Romu, have you got any other Danny Thompson records that you want to?
No, I just wanted to show, but you did. That's the same.
Yeah.
The same album. This is actually a very nice VCLT from Mike. So yeah, I am. I'm
nice.
building up my collection of John Martin. I only have the live at Leeds and the very first album, but I'm still on the lookout for Solid Air, Bless the Weather, and all. Yeah, but
Yes, I don't have a vinyl copy of Solid
yeah,
Air.
I was about to show a Lorena McKinnett record because I knew there were some collaboration, but the one I have, it didn't play it on. So yeah,
I had this as well
yeah,
out, which is Inside Out, which is probably my equal favorite John Martin record with Solid Air. Very, very. This record is like Solid Air in spirit, like as all these kind of guitar pyrotechnics on it with his Ecoplex soundbox and his kind of like fuzzy guitar, acoustic guitar. But on this, his vocals are super muffled. It feels like he's drunk for the whole time, and it's almost like he's almost scatting rather than singing. Like you'd have a really hard time understanding anything he's saying on this. I know he's Scottish, but that sort of compounds the issue of understanding what he's trying to say. It's like he's got this nasal kind of thing going, and nobody really knows what he sings. It's a bit like Damo Suzuki in Cannes. So but it's a wonderful record. Otherwise, it's very. It's got this jazzy funk, almost funky kind of quality to it, and Danny Thompson plays on it too, which is there you go. There's Danny, Stevie Winwood, Remy Kabbalah, Chris Wood, all sorts of people. Yeah. Anyway, there you go.
this is what I find fascinating with such art. To me, it was almost like a family. Like, for instance, last year Jerry Conway passed away, and he played with so many different, or was at least involved in so many different projects. And so yeah, we had to pay a little bit of a tribute.
Yeah. I mean, I see that Headley in the comments mentioned the Songhai project.
Yeah.
I have a CD somewhere, but nothing on.
You know it, Mike, the Songhai, yeah.
Yes, I do. I mean, I was very much into African roots music, particularly back in the 90s. It was partly a reaction to Britpop. I needed to find something else. And
there was a big pull from that Peter Gabriel Real World kind of. That's kind of started a movement of its own right. A lot of quote unquote world music was published in the UK, and a lot of it was popular there as well. You look at back when lots of compilations that came out around the time in the UK. It was very that scene was very active. It seems. I mean, you were there, so you can tell us about it.
Well, that's right. And on UK radio, John Peel started playing, music from, outside of Europe and North America, and particularly Andy Kershaw was very much a champion of music from out there, and it was really exciting stuff because you get to hear stuff that you weren't aware of before, and that's what I love. And Romuald and I have talked about Rye, and after the discussion, I think it turns out that the sort of Rye music that I was listening to and enjoying, I must say, was more geared to a European audience. Not the more sort of authentic stuff, the stuff that had been around for many, many years. And I think it's a lot of that is on cassette, isn't it?
Yeah, most of it is on cassette.
Yeah.
But that is to say that, to further to your points that you're making, that all this is also folk music, like Rye, griot music from Mali, or whether it be you can even quantify high life and Afrobeat as forms of folk music, if you will. They are the folk music of those countries. We call it world music because we're lazy, but it's effectively probably more apt to call it folk music, in a way, which
Yes.
perhaps is better. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I found this album here in the thrift store probably like 2 or 3 years ago. This record here, I found it for $2 here in the thrift store. It's Moonshine by Bert Jansch. If you can see that was $2, but it's in not very good condition, and it was on my to sell pile, or to donate pile, and I pulled it out this week again to hear it again, just to see whether it was worth saving. And it's listenable. It's not. It's a bit. It's a bit crackly, this copy, but in any case, it's a Danny Thompson record too. Very much so. He plays on almost every track, as does Dave Matax from Fairport Convention, and all sorts of other people. But Danny Thompson is very much a big part of this group here, and we all love Bert Jansch. So
we do. Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about folk music from elsewhere, I'll show you this, and then I'll make the connection. This is an album that I picked up very recently, and there you go, Hot Vultures, and their album Up the Line. This is very much sort of country blues Americana.
Yeah.
And the artist here it's Maggie Holland, and she plays the bass guitar, and then you've got Ian A. Anderson, and the A's in there to distinguish him from the Jethro Tull singer.
Yeah.
And so this is a lovely album. I only really discovered Hot Vultures fairly recently, and there's great stuff on here. I mean, there's Poncho Train on here that Maggie Holland sings it absolutely brilliantly. But a connection here is that Ian A. Anderson went on to edit a magazine called Folk Roots, that then shortened its name to Fruits. And I was a subscriber, and I remember that in their editorials, they had a continuing spat with the English Folk Dance and Song Society.
Oh, okay.
Precisely about the definition of folk music. And, they were saying, well, look, folk music doesn't just originate in Europe and North America. It's everywhere. And I don't know if this was a sort of, this was manufactured, this whole sort of argument, a bit like the Blur versus Oasis thing. But I remember it went on and on and on. And the word in Folk Roots magazine was that, the English Folk Dance and Song Society were old fossils who were, set in their ways and weren't prepared to accept that, there was folk music everywhere. And a few times a year on the magazine, I don't have actually any of the magazines now. They all went a long time ago, but used to get a CD. I think it was about three times a year, and I have a whole collection of them here. And there's all sorts of people on here. I mean, on this one you've got caterers being Catherine Roberts, who are absolutely brilliant. But then you've got Kante Mamphila, who else? This is probably not a good example. There's not a lot of not a lot of non sort of European stuff on here, but there's all sorts of stuff, and particularly Tex-Mex and South American sound, all sorts of really wonderful stuff, and it was a great magazine to have. And these CDs were absolutely invaluable because 18 20 tracks on each. You got CC Chen on this one and Steel Span, the Afro-Celtic Afro-Celt sound system as well,
Yeah.
if you remember them.
I remember them, yeah.
Yeah. So, this was a really good way of sort of, for me to expand my musical horizons.
That's what a good, effectively a good curation of a good compilation, even on a magazine CD. I mean, I remember back then when Mojo or whatever Uncut used to do really good compilations on their like you'd get a CD every time, and there'd be something really tremendous. I mean, it became this kind. It's become a joke. Those magazines now, because there's the same 5 people on the cover every time, be it Dylan or the Beatles or someone like or Led Zeppelin. But then you had a real diversity and you get compilations, and they would even break into scenes like that you'd get an acid folk CD or something about compilations like rare groove compilations or something, and you'd get a lot of like I gotta say, I discovered a lot of tracks through those compilations, and a good magazine with a good curation is a gateway into music. Like it's what we did before Spotify existed. I mean, I still don't use Spotify myself, but it was my Spotify, so to speak, and it was yours too, Mike. I can see. I don't know about
absolutely. And the really good thing about these is that the CDs were linked to articles and reviews in the magazine.
Yeah.
That the CD came with, so you could read about it and then listen to it.
What you are telling is that a bunch of people who are interested about folk, they don't only look what happened in the Anglo-Saxon world, they also consider what happens elsewhere. The same applies to rock and roll, to a certain extent. I think Fred and myself, both French people, we know that when we only speaking of the VC, it's always it's always nice to talk about something that was happening in France or in Spain, and to have this discussion with our American or British or Australian friends, since they weren't exposure. I think we were in France, so we know about that. But rock and roll was pretty much an Anglo-Saxon revolution, and you have such an interest, but it's not the majority of the VC or of the people who live in those countries. And Sean, the Vinyl Dreamscape, made a video about that. He said that living in the US is almost like living on an island. You really have to do yourself the extra mile to discover something that is not intended, that is not like calibrated for your ears or targeted to land in your lap.
Yeah, but it's rewarding though, isn't it?
Yeah,
very rewarding.
Absolutely. And I was surprised myself when I moved to Canada, since I have the chance to go to Toronto, for instance, several times a year. And we do have access over here pretty much easily to Hungarian folk, African kora music. It's not like, oh, it's impossible. It's only about rock, about jazz, about Miles Davis. No, it is possible.
Hungarian folk, anyone? I've got some records next to me there.
Hey,
there we go.
I love a bit of hurdy-gurdy.
No, that's proper Hungarian folk. I've actually got a couple of Hungarian folk records next to me here. This is. I mean, we'll talk about music from around the world. This is a series on Chant du Monde. Chant du Monde, the French label.
French folkways, yeah.
Yeah, the French folkways, if you like.
Yeah.
Chant du Monde, and they've released a whole lot of very, very diverse music. Some of it was communist music because they were repping the Communist Party, but a lot of other music was kind of world music that was completely under the radar. And they had this series called Spécial Instrumental, and on that series they released all sorts of really weird instruments that people played. And this is l'Épinette des Vosges. Épinette des Vosges is like it's like a dulcimer.
Dulcimer, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
Right.
dulcimer, and the guy plays it super well. He's a virtuoso. But I've got this next to me, and I was going to just say, I do have another Hungarian record next to me for Linda. This is a music genre called Nebzen. It's Hungarian medieval folk music
Right.
with
Excellent.
with
Oh.
hurdy-gurdies all the way,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's fucking crazy. I just love this music. And these are $2. Like I found it in France for like €3 or something. You can find them anywhere. They're so cheap over there. But yeah, just a side thing. We're talking about music from around the world, Hungarian music, and Mike is gone to space.
And
I'm
there
d-
is there is this record called Musicas or Muscas. I have,
Musicas, I've got that too. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
really great. You've got it
yeah.
as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hurdy-gurdy.
yeah.
It's just so what you find in the bins in the record stores in Melbourne that nobody really buys. This was like a really, really cheap record, but it's cool. It was worth next to nothing, and
Yeah.
it's great. But the thing is, and it. Sorry, I mean I'm talking a lot, but it maybe later I won't have so much to say. But what I was going to say is further to the point of Romu, who says, America is like an island, and if you want music from other places, you have to get digging and finding things. This kind of idea is fascinating because it's true. You could stay in your bubble and listen to Anglo-Saxon music all day long. There's enough for everyone. Yeah, when you've got as we said before, the sacred cows, your Led Zeppelins and your Beatles and your Rolling Stones and everything that comes from that tree, be it like you talk of Britpop or whatever else, or you can find some rabbit holes, some things that people haven't explored and haven't touched. Because people complain records are expensive these days, but they're only expensive because people don't look in the right places. There's a lot of cheap records to be had still, a lot of really good cheap records, but you have to find the interest in which these records squarely sit. If you
Yeah.
think of Hungarian records, they're cheap as chips. Nobody wants them, and
Yeah,
you
that
can
yeah.
find a way to enjoy. If you can find a way to enjoy and integrate these into your record, this is the thing that they break into the hierarchy of your record collection, and they have the same, you know, the same cultural value as a John Coltrane record, or as a Rolling Stones record, or whatever it is. That's actually finding that mental space to say, yeah, that's Hungarian folk record is as valuable to me as that Miles Davis record. And why? Because you've actually spent the time and you've rationalized that idea, and culturally you accept that these are two different types of music, but there's not one that's better than the other. Fundamentally, they can both sit on the same shelf. I think it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, but only talking about the VC, it's a long way to the top. You and I, Fred, we witness it every Sunday morning on the French live stream we host with Stanley, and it's funny to see people going on Sunday morning on the flea market or garage sale, same places. You have people like Joseph, for instance, Isola, who is very like fascinated, excited, say, "Hey, we still find some amazing stuff." And other people who stayed in the classic rock say, "Oh, we don't find nothing anymore these days. Oh, it's awful." Since they are only maybe on the lookout of a Beatles release on a flea market, I don't know, and completely overlook the rest.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like Romeo and I were talking about that the other day. You've got some VC members I don't know them. I don't know who they are because I don't normally connect with a lot of people, but who go on trips from America to
Italy,
Italy
Italy.
or
Yeah.
France or wherever, and just bring American records back. You think, what the fuck? what, why? Like, say I go to Portugal, which I went to fairly recently. I only bought Portuguese records because to me,
Yeah.
it's truly exciting. I'll never find these records, Fado records, or or Brazilian, Portuguese Brazilian records that you can find anywhere, or records from Angola or Cape Verde, which were colonies of Portugal. You never find those records anywhere else, and you're really, really excited about this. Some people just go there and buy, Led Zeppelin records, and you think,
Yeah, but you don't get it, Fred. The Bob Dylan French press do sound better.
oh
Better.
my god, it's can I just respond very quickly
Sure.
to a question from Perfect Prescription, and I think it's a good thing. It's a good little side note. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking in a second. Perfect Prescription asked me if I've got First Nations record. I want to showcase this record. Wonderful, wonderful record. Mike, you would love this. Can you
I'm
make me
sure
big?
I would.
Can you
Yeah.
make me big? Kanwaka Nagara is the lady there, and the album is called Wilmani. It was released on Mississippi Records, which is a kind of a modern folkways, if you like. They release a lot of Ethiopian records and American blues records, and they're very much into the sort of idea of the renewal of folk music in all its forms. And this lady, she was busking in I think in Alice Springs, or I can't remember which city she was in. I think she was in Alice Springs busking in the street, and she was discovered. And she has a voice which sounds 5,000 years old. It's this kind of like deep connection with the earth and with the soil, and with it's a folk blues album, or a country folk album, we could say. It sounds a little bit like Son House or John Patton, like very early John Patton, but she sings in her native language, and it's just heartbreakingly beautiful. It's very simple. It's probably deceptively simple, the music. It's not that simple. It's actually quite sophisticated in nature, but she sings with that voice, and she even sings duets with other Aboriginal singers. There's a track with this guy called Archer, the second track there, which is the title track, Wilmani, which, if you want to sample a track of this album, this is a superb folk album from Australia. And that's what I'll say to it. It's a response to the comment on the side, and it fits with our topic, which is music that is folk music from other lands. In this case, the land that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. This conversation's taken a really interesting turn, and the records that I've got out weren't the ones that maybe I should have got out had I known. No, it's fine, Fred. No, this is really good. And I mean, you were talking about being able to pick up music, very, very cheaply. If you're prepared to look for it, if you're prepared to, broaden your horizons. And there's my favourite record store in Leeds. It's called Wall of Sound, and it's in a tiny basement below another record shop. So you've got a record shop upstairs called Crash that sells all new albums. Very sort of mainstream, really. I think they specialise in metal. Downstairs, it's all second-hand stuff, and the guy is a real Fairport Richard Thompson fan. And the store is absolutely crammed full of records. You have to move things in order to get to what's underneath. And on the walls, you have things like, Nick Drake first pressings, Richard Thompson test pressings. things that are sort of, three figures, £100 plus. But then underneath the racks, you get the boxes and boxes of stuff. And recently I found some Alice Duval stuff, quite a few albums, and they're all really, really cheap. And another album I picked up is this. It's a Swedish album, and I was just intrigued by it. So there you go. It's Pierre Strom and Finn Zetterholm. It's called 1st of May, which is, of course, 1st of May. Yeah. And basically, it's communist songs sung in Swedish.
Why not?
It's really interesting, and it cost me, next to nothing, because who the hell wants a record like this? Well, I do.
Well,
but, that's the thing, isn't it?
It sounds interesting, and you enjoyed it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say it's a record I'm going to come back to, time after time, but it was really good. I've got one. I've got one or two other, records that I picked
perfect.
up. Like
since the next topic, or the topic we're already delving into, is the latest discoveries, the favorite, or whatever, recent purchase, whatever. Yeah,
it's a very organic discussion. Although I talk way too much, I'm so sorry.
No, this is really good. Shall I go first?
Yeah, be my guest, or be
Show
our
us
guest.
records.
You guys will know about this couple, and I know very little about them. Right, this is Delphine Dora and a guitarist called Mock. I think that's how you pronounce it, Mocké. Do you know of these people?
Is it a French album?
It is a French album, yes. And
I can't say. Well, we can't know everything, but we are prepared to learn.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bought it is when Tartan de Clos was recommended to me, it was on a label called Ukraina, which I think is a Belgian label, and they do all sorts of lovely stuff. And there's a record store in London called Honest John's, and their stock is for all sorts of wonderful stuff, including the Ukraina label. Their website's very good because you can click on the tracks and you get little samples of the track, so you can hear the stuff while you're browsing. Really,
I'm sorry. I'm going to just slightly interject in what you're saying because it's interesting. I love those stores which have a slightly more specialized stock than your usual kind of, and keep it online really, really well. We've got a couple of stores here in Australia where the stock is really, esoteric, like it's different. You'll find some classics and stuff, but most of the stuff is like in the ambient, left field, folk, jazz, all sorts of things that you can. And I would spend hours like just browsing on the website and finding things and listening to them. And I love those kinds of stores. And Honest John's is obviously very well known throughout the world because they're also a label too. So
that's right. Yes. And I've got an album on their label that I'll show later. But yes. So the singer Delphine Dora, she's got such a wonderful voice, and the music is very sort of stripped back. So you've got the guitar from Mock, and it sounds sort of otherworldly, really. And I read a review, and the review said it sounds like she's reciting nursery rhymes in a language from another planet. And when you listen to her, you can kind of see what they mean. It's very, 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 very simple and very complicated at the same time. if that makes sense. It sounds very simple. It sounds like a nursery rhyme, but you know that every note she sings is is thought about. Everything sort of runs together, and it's an absolutely wonderful album.
So she's got,
It's on 10-inch. It's on two 10-inch discs. I mean,
really?
this is one thing that the Ukrainer label do, that they release a lot of albums on 10-inch vinyl.
Yeah, I'm not such a fan of 10-inch myself, because they don't fit anywhere in the racks. They're just like
I've got a little section down there, that's.
But even if I don't buy this record, because to import this here is a bit too much, it'd be nice to actually listen to it. So Delphine Dora, and who's the guy called?
Mock, Mokke.
M-O-C-A. Okay,
Yeah,
Mock.
and it's called Le Corps Défendant.
I'll
Yeah, and there's another album by them that I bought that was their latest one, and it was recorded in a church in France at Puy-de-Dôme, and again, it's really wonderful stuff.
Yeah,
Very sort of otherworldly.
I found it on Bandcamp. I'm going to leave this open and listen to it after, or tomorrow or something. Thanks.
Yeah,
for
well,
that.
let me know what you think. Yeah, and yeah.
The guy from Tartine de Clou came on Escalier du Pif, which is the stream that Romu does on Sunday night, and he was a nice guy. He explained all the record and everything. It was very
humble and
a very learned kind of conversation. He was talking about the music in very technical terms, and how they made the music. Well, they had to willfully make the music different from medieval music. So the intervals, for example, they were singing, he was explaining, were different from medieval intervals. Like they're not. It's not medieval music per se. It's a modern take on it. It's quite clued in. I was like, wow, this. So I didn't buy the album myself, but I know of it, and Romu's got it, and a lot of people have it.
Yeah. I mean, I just have to listen whenever somebody recommends something. I just have to listen. Sometimes I think it's not for me, and I move on. But so many times, I have to explore that artist a little bit further. It's a great thing about the vinyl community, really, about these video channels, and that's why it's sometimes a little bit of a pity that when some channels don't broaden their horizons at all. It's the music that they've always loved and will always love, and nothing else. But then that's very popular, isn't it? That kind of channel. But yeah. I bought this from Honest John's. I was in London. We were visiting Thompson.
I'm actually jealous of this. I really. It's Munir Bashir, isn't it? It's Munir Bashir. It's Munir Bashir. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a compilation.
It's a compilation. It actually has got the same sleeve as the Munir Bashir LP. I'm sure Munir Bashir must be on the track list somewhere.
I'm just having. I've only listened to it once, and Munir Bashir and his quartet are on here. Track called Charud.
The sleeve, basically the sleeve you've got, is the sleeve of the Munir Bashir LP that I'd really want to have, but they've used it for this compilation as well, which is cool. It's nice. Tell us.
Yeah. So I was, I was in. I was actually in one of Honest John's stores, so I had a good look around, and and this is what I decided to pick up. But so again,
it's wonderful
stuff.
Is it a compilation from Voix de L'Orient? Is that what it is? It's the Voice of the Orient, the label.
Yeah. Voice of the Orient label. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That's a great label. They were based in Lebanon and in Greece, from memory, and they've released a lot of Middle Eastern music, from stuff from Lebanon, stuff from a little bit of stuff from Iran. I think Munir Bashir is from Iran, from memory. But they released Ferouz and I've got lots of Voix de L'Orient on my shelf. I got a Middle Eastern shelf there on the side, and I've got quite a lot of these records. But I'm sure this compilation would be very, very thrilling. I don't know what's on it, but you make me want to have it as well.
yeah. So it's called, Envoie m'appelle, the modern Lebanese sounds of the Voix de L'Orient label, 1967 to 1984. Arabic pop, Oriental funk, jazz fusion, experimental synth.
Could you show us the track list, if it's possible? The thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to see. No, it's a bit too blurry. Even I can't see that. I'll have to look it up online. Thank you.
No. Yeah, but I mean, if you go onto Honest John's website, it will be there.
Yeah, they've just used the same cover as the Munir Bashir album.
Oh, right.
When I saw it, I thought, oh, shit, I want that.
No, I'm afraid it isn't. It's just it's a straightforward compilation. But again, as I say, I've only listened to it a couple of times, and it's very, very good. And I'm sure there'll be some of the artists here that I'll be exploring further.
I think no, it's not a Voix de L'Orient. I thought it was. I bought this record. No, it's a different label, but yeah. Aye. Romu, have you got some?
I've got some classics. As odd as it may sound, Richard and Linda Thompson wasn't something I discovered. I want to say the Bright Lights many years before, and it wasn't something to me back then. So I kind of didn't investigate lots of time. And now with my love for folk music, things are a little bit different. And this is an album that I recently got from you, Mike. Another cool VCLT, which I wasn't expected to find one day. So and I kind of changed my mind about Richard and Linda Thompson. This one is a little bit is a traditional folk, I would say. Is less rock, less guitar, very like laid back, and yeah.
It has some wonderful tracks on there. I think my favorite's Pavan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dave Swarbrick does a version of Pavan, but for me the definitive version, and I think it's better than Linda's singing, is June Tabor does a version of it.
June Tabor, there's another artist I discovered thanks to your guidance, and we're also talking about we won't go a little bit too we'll try to keep on subject, but we were talking about how important were the labels, and I focus on what was on Island Island Records label, Transatlantic, and you should head Topic. That's another great label to explore. And I realized, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, they were the Water Sons on this label. Various artists I don't have records, so. But yeah, June Tabor is another great discovery.
Yes, yeah. I mean, a lot of the Topic Records albums from the 90s were only ever issued on CD. So that's something to bear in mind. But I'll buy a CD if I have to.
Well, recently I picked up a copy of which is not a new record, obviously. It's Bright Phoebus by Mike and Lal Waterson, which is one of these great kind of English folk masterpieces, but never had a copy before. And there was one on the wall of one of the stores that I go to. Came out on a label called Trailer back in the day. I don't know if that label pulled out a lot of things, but it has a cast of like it's got Maddie Pryor on this as well. It's got Tim Hart. It's got Ashley Hutchins and Richard Thompson. Martin Carthy is on this. There's a whole lot of. Yeah. It's the UK folk scene 101. It's one of. It's probably one of the best records. Well, one of the most sought after albums from that time period. And the Watersons, for those who don't know, they're part of this kind of family that sang a cappella for quite a few of their records. It's just like traditional a cappella records. They were very highly respected by the folk scene because they actually took folk traditional folk very seriously, and they made a lot of really high grade vocal records. But this one is. It reminds me, if I'm going to be honest, we're talking about I want to see the bright light tonight. It's very similar to I want to see the bright light tonight. I feel that it would be a companion piece. It's on the same kind of line. When you hear Rubber Band, the first track, I've got the impression I'm listening to When I Get to the Border. Practically, it's the same kind of feel, a vibe. You know, do you have this, Mike?
It's the biggest hole in my folk collection.
Yeah,
I've been looking for it, but it's very rare. I was talking to a record dealer about it at Leeds Record Fair about 3 months ago, and he said that there was a little bit of sort of legal shenanigans when the album was reissued. And I think the people, the people that wanted to release it didn't have the full copyright, etc., etc. And the thing was released and quickly withdrawn, and it just hasn't been reissued since, which I think is a pity because, I'd really love that album. It's fantastic. But there's, you're talking about, the Watersons, their album, which is there somewhere, and I can't even remember the full name of it, but it's their first album, I think. And
the cover, the red sleeve, it's got a bright red sleeve. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, I don't think so. It's got like a picture of somebody sitting in the snow in the winter, sort of sitting outside.
Okay, yeah.
And it follows the season, so it starts off with a wassail song, and then it goes through the seasons and then finishes with another wassail song. And the Watersons, as you say, they were really really respected, and of course Norma Waterson married Martin Carthy.
Yeah.
Then there's their daughter
Eliza,
who was sort of who's a fiddle player and singer. I mean, her first album, again, these were just on CD. So Eliza Carthy and Nancy Kerr. But there's another CD. I'll take the thing out of the box so it doesn't burst much. But you're talking about Lowell Waterson. I've been listening to this CD, Lowell Waterson and Oliver Knight, Once in a Blue Moon, and it's from about 1990, I think, and it's absolutely a fantastic album.
You must have a ton of folk albums. I'm listening to them like, oh, this is someone who with like cabinets of folk albums. On
I've got a lot of vinyl, and I've got an awful lot of CDs as well. As I say, the Topic record label, but in the 90s, everything was on CD.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of You know, a lot of Martin Carthy stuff, a lot of Waters and Carthy. Yeah, it's a fine label, and
Yeah.
can't get enough of it. The other thing that I didn't discover until sort of quite a few years later is that I always thought that the early Martin Carthy albums and the Carthy and Swarbrick albums were originally issued on the Topic label, but they weren't. But it just reflects when I was getting into sort of folk music. By that time,
Yeah.
there were reissues of these albums, and they were all on the Topic label. But a lot of the early ones were on labels like Fontana.
Fontana, yeah.
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 Yeah. So Topic label is definitely worth looking at. It's Topic, Transatlantic Island. All those labels contain
A&M to a certain extent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there are folk records, everywhere, aren't there? But the Transatlantic label, I think, is a really big one. Yeah, Frost and Fire. That's it, Headley. Yep. That's the album. Yeah, and it's wonderful. But I've just got a CD of that, but I might be investing in vinyl at some point, I suppose.
One of the latest also discoveries is is also a classic. I won't be showing too many obscure stuff, but Still I Span you can find pretty much easily, and this could almost be Still I Span album, Maddie Pryor, Tim Hart, where the lead singers of Still I Span, and this is also an absolute traditional folk album they made. So another VCLT from Mike, which is pretty cool, and really enjoy this one. Really
Mike
enjoy
delivers.
Yes. It's the album's crossed the Atlantic with Rabaud's father.
Yeah.
I'm preparing a video. I haven't got a time to introduce this album. I'm running a little bit behind, but who cares? So no one really needs it.
You are presenting the albums now, so in any case. So
Yeah. But this one I had on my Spotify. I think one of the album I listened to most this summer, and I was so lucky to have a copy because yes, you find Still a Span record over here all over the place, $2. The Below the Salt, it's very like and now we were 6, pretty much easily $2 record, good conditions, but those side projects a little bit less common over here in Canada. So
did you ever pick up Hark the Village Wait, Romy?
no, it's on the list.
It's probably the best album. I mean, as the most kind of like together album they've made.
Yeah,
I don't know if Mike agrees, but it's really on a sort of like, to me, it's in the pantheon of English folk.
There is a song called Blacksmith or Black something.
Blacksmith, yeah, which is on the first 2 albums, isn't it?
Yeah,
different versions.
Yeah.
But
it's an interesting story. I mean, I find this whole, when you read in Electric Eden how they retreated to a village next to Stonehenge. Can't remember the name of the village now. It doesn't come to me, but they all lived a few miles away from Stonehenge, and how that would have informed their mental excursions into pagan folk. They lived like right next to Stonehenge, like in a tiny village with a very quaint name, like something Croft or like I love English village names. They've got all sorts of such quaint names in England. It's unbelievably quaint. But what's the name of the village that lived in? Yeah, it was next to and it sort of evokes in my head images of like Wuthering Heights and things. I don't know why. It's because I forever connect Wuthering Heights with Stonehenge, because obviously they end up in Stonehenge at the end. But it's kind of this kind of pagan idea of folk music and paganism being linked together is fascinating, I think, for me.
Yes,
Anyway.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things, isn't it, that's is at least alluded to in Electric Eden. About the first sort of folk collectors,
Yeah.
who were, upright middle class members of society,
Yeah,
and
see some
they imposed a certain sort of self censorship
yeah.
into their collecting, didn't they? Because the more pagan, the unchristian songs were not really what they were looking for. Not fit for polite society.
Yeah, it's yeah. No, you're right. You are right.
Yeah.
Do you want me to continue? Can I?
Sure. Yeah.
I go?
Go ahead.
We're talking about a folk artist. Like, is it recent, latest discoveries? I think this would classify as it's 2 albums, but it's the same artist. I'm talking about Kath Bloom. So this is called Really, and this is called Sand in My Shoe. Yeah, this is Kath Bloom and Lauren Connors. So Kath Bloom, she is an artist from New Haven in Connecticut, or somewhere in, I think, far North America somewhere. I think it's Connecticut from memory, or New Hampshire, one of these kind of states. And she made music largely with this guy, this guitar player called Lauren Connors, and they made these kind of cultish private press records, which sound like a cross between Vashti Bunyan, Joni Mitchell, and say Judy Collins. This kind of like, but from the 80s, from the 1980s. So this is from 1983. And this one here is a compilation of tracks from also. The interesting thing is they were both reissued by Chapter Music, which is a Melbourne label. So this is a Melbourne label, okay, and they were reissued here in Melbourne. That's why I grabbed them. I've been immersed in this album here largely. Sand in My Shoe. It's a beautiful, yeah. I don't know how to describe this. I've got visions of like things like Judy Seal, or not Linda Perhacs, but I was going to say Sibyl Bayer, if you know Sibyl Bayer. Romu knows Sibyl Bayer, and she's one of my favorite, like sort of very, very kind of near private press artists. So Sibyl Bayer here, which Romu has got in his hand. She's a German. She never really made records. She just recorded tracks at home. And years later, after the fact, her son decided to release a music, and it's very, very beautiful. It's Vashti Bunyan-esque. And this here, if you like Sibyl Bayer, well, Kath Bloom would be very, very much up your alley. It's very delicate. Again, not quite on the level of a Vashti Bunyan, but somewhere there, like a 1980s version of it, and yeah, from 1983 to 1987 ish, but yeah, freshly, recently re-released by a label here in Melbourne, Chapter Music, which is the same label who released the post-punk compilation that I sent to Romu through his father. The
Can't stop us.
yeah, the Melbourne post-punk compilation I sent you. This is the same label as this released post-punk and this as well, which is weird. But yeah, it's a lovely sort of recent-ish discovery, and I've been playing those records a lot recently. I think all I play at the moment is basically folk music anyway. Most of what I play is folk.
yeah. I go through phases, that
Yeah.
I sometimes do that. But I mean, quite honestly, I hadn't ignored my folk collection in terms of listening to it, but I'd certainly ignored it in terms of vinyl community until certain French people started talking about English folk music, and I thought, wow, yeah, about time I did as well.
My
But
God.
yeah, we were talking about Steel Span and their first album, and I picked this up for next to nothing a couple of weeks back. Going Terry Woods. This is their album called Tenterhooks. I mean, it's very much in the sort of the singer-songwriter kind of folk genre. Very much if you like Richard and Linda Thompson or John and Beverly Martin, I think you'd like this. And it's not it's not a traditional folk album at all, but it's lovely nevertheless. And I'd never actually seen it before, and it was just sitting there in one of the record stores that I go into quite frequently. Somebody had brought in a reasonably large collection of folk music.
And you went.
Yes, exactly. I went through it, and and it seems that sometimes the relative unpopularity of the stuff that you like is it's a real bonus, because
That's what we were talking about
it's
before.
very cheap. Yeah,
It's exactly what we were talking about before. It's finding things that nobody else wants, and
yes,
you get them cheap. But you just have to find the things that you have to be open-minded enough to find those things. That's
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's Guy and Terry Woods, and a great album, because they left Steel Span. I think there were quite a few sort of musical disagreements, weren't there, in the first iteration of the band, and they went off to do their own thing. And of course, Terry Woods ended up in the Pogues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Another great folk band.
Right. Yeah. So later on, I think it was If I Should Fall from Grace with God, I think is the first album that he was on. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Oh, we can check. It's here somewhere.
Yeah.
Should we check?
Yeah.
So
I don't have any Pogues album.
Or you should have.
Which one
Red
should
Roses
I
for me.
start with?
Red Roses for me is my favourite.
Wait, hang on. Give me a second. I just need to
Rum
find-
Sodomy and the Lash is the most popular one.
Mm.
It was the one that made their name, really.
Yeah. Rum Sodomy and Lash is really good. I got here. So let's check this Terry Woods theory. Yeah, well, Run Sodomy and Lash is a masterpiece, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
With the Raft of Medusa from Jericho reproduced in its Pogian glory.
Yeah.
Produced by Elvis Costello too. A great record. But this is the one that you were saying, Mike. This here. So
Yeah.
is Terry Woods, you said?
Yeah.
Terry, okay, so Spider Stacy. Yes, correct. He plays
Right, yes, I thought he was. I don't think he's on the first two.
Mendola, Taylor Banjo, Dulcimer. And so this is a great record too, Romu. If you never, it's got obviously the Fairy Tale of New York, which everybody knows, but Fiesta, Streets of the Broad Magician. I love the folk, but for me, I'm going to be very controversial. One that I come back to often, is the EP Purgatory in Motion.
I was just going to say that is brilliant.
Yeah, Rainy Night in Soho is my favorite song by the Pogues. It's fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an EP. Yeah, I haven't. And Terry Woods is on this too. There we go.
Yep.
There you go. And it's all side notes, Pogues. But those first two albums, Romu, you can't go wrong with either of them. They're both classics, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Pogues sort of bridge the gap between punk and
Punk
folk.
and folk, yeah, yeah.
Sort of, yeah, in a very sort of, I mean, for me, I find this music very sentimental. I used to listen to the Pogues a lot when I was at university in the 90s. I don't know. I mean, that's when I got into that music. And when I hear those songs, especially Fairy Tale of New York, I associate it with being at uni back in 1995 or whatever, 1996.
Right,
That's what it reminds me of for some reason. It's a very kind of sentimental listening, but it's beautiful music, really. It's just really, I mean, that's why they were successful, really. But
yeah. They're absolutely brilliant band. I actually managed to get to see them one time.
You managed to go. I was going to say, where did you see them, by the way? Just as out of interest sake, where was that?
In Leeds. In Leeds.
Yeah.
And it was when I was at university.
Oh well.
You know,
cool.
and when I was at university, it's a long time ago.
Did they play those? Did they play the big songs?
It was they'd released Rum Sodomy and the Lash.
Okay, wow, that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, 1985 ish. 1980.
That's right. That's right. So it's after because I came up to Leeds University and then I stayed here.
Forever.
Yeah. So I was at university until about 83, and then
Yeah, no, that would have been great. I was going to say, talking about live, I forgot to mention before, but the only time I saw Danny Thompson on stage, which I did once, was for a Nick Drake tribute concert.
All right.
There was the songs of Nick Drake, and they brought a whole cast of people. There was Green Garthside from Scritti Politti was doing vocals. Vashti Bunyan came and sang a couple of songs. Danny Thompson was playing the bass, obviously, for the whole thing. And even Joe Boyd came on stage, and here in Melbourne, he was part of the tour and talked about Nick Drake and how Nick Drake did this. And no, it's the only time I'd ever seen both Vashti Bunyan and Danny Thompson on the same stage. But she was kind of mesmerizing. She was amazing to see on stage. She's just very small and like white hair, but striking all the same. Very, very, very thrilling to see in public. Yeah. So
Yes. Yeah, it's quite. I mean, Vashti Bunyan has quite an interesting backstory, doesn't she?
Yeah.
The whole thing about Donovan's island in Scotland.
Yeah, in the Hebrides. Yeah,
that's right. And they went by. They went in a horse-drawn caravan, and by the time they got there, everyone else had given up and gone home.
That's what you see on the cover of her album too. She's in the caravan. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
And how nobody wanted to make friends with her on the island, and everybody hated them because they were foreigners, basically, and how difficult their life was. But it's interesting because in Electric Eden, it opens the book. That story opens the book, and it's kind of like almost a metaphor for the English folk scene and what it represented. I think it's quite clever to have put her first in there and said, this is what folk music was like in the 70s.
Yeah.
This is what they had to do. These people had to do. Like it's quite extraordinary. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should we show some more records? You want to see some more things, some more folk things?
Sure. Yeah.
Why not? I'm just side thing. I don't know if you are familiar with. Is someone that I've been listening to for over 20 years, and I've got a ton of his albums. I'm talking about Bonnie Prince Billy. So have you both heard of Bonnie Prince Billy? Do you know? I think Romu. I'm
Yes.
trying to turn Romu onto it. He's a singer-songwriter from Louisville in Kentucky, and he came out of a scene which was largely post-rock, hardcore, but he decided to actually make folk music. He started his career with his band called Palace
Yeah.
Music. That was his first band, and I've got quite a few of their records too. This is Vivalas Blues, which is fantastic, and he appears there under his real name, Will Oldham. That's him. It's Bonnie Prince Billy.
Yeah.
Um, and I love Bonnie Prince Billy. I've got probably 10 or 12 of his records, and all his albums just sound really different and interesting. I See a Darkness, his first solo album, is particularly worth having. But recently, these last couple of weeks, I picked up one of his latest records, which is called Hear the Children and the Evidence. It's basically 2 tracks of 20 minutes each. They're folk songs, folk with a slight alternative country tinge, but they're basically folk songs with a bit of an arrangement. There's a bit of synth and Fender Rhodes and whatnot.
Progressive folk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
it is like Stormcock, like the Roy Harper record, which I think you wouldn't know. It's a classic of the English. That's that kind of idea where they're expanding the songs on. And Stormcock is amazing. And by the way, if you don't have that record, it really is a mind blower. But this reminds me a little bit of Stormcock. It's Bonnie Prince Billy and 2 other folkers, Nathan Salzberg, who makes a lot of records that are kind of in the Jewish tradition, with a little bit of folk mixed with some of that traditional Jewish music, and Tyler Trotter. Yeah, very very, very, very cool little record. 2 tracks, really progressive, really, and this came out 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, 2024, 2023, 2024. I don't know, but it's a nice little record, and it just was a little segue into Bonnie Prince Billy, which everybody should listen to because he's awesome.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. He's somebody that's kind of passed me by over the years. I know he's got an absolutely enormous discography, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And I'm meaning, I'm really meaning to get into his music, and again, talking about Honest John's record store, they have a lot of Bonnie Prince Billy.
Mike, if you get anything,
Yeah, the first yeah.
get this. This is a master. This is just, I'm going to call it, is a 10 out of 10. It's a masterpiece. It's called I See a Darkness. It's from 1999.
Right.
Johnny Cash covered the title track in the American recordings. He was so in love with it. So that's amazing. And this is master. One. They're both in the same kind of time period. Of these are just superb. If you want to start somewhere, anywhere, and then this Palace Vivalas Blues is really good. And there's another album called There Is No One What Would Take Care of You, which is also really worth having. But this is very, very nice too. But like, if you don't know where to start, I'd start with this. It's very gothic. It's very dark. It's super, super dark in spirit. It's really sort of a very somber and very sparse music. It's not a lot in the way of instrumentation or anything. It's very, it's like the cover. It's like a skeleton of music speaking, but it's so effective, at the same time.
This
excellent,
simple.
excellent. Well, Yeah, now you mentioned Bonnie Prince Billy. There's an album here that there is a connection, and
Let's play
this is
Connection.
a modern. They're a Scottish folk band. I've actually split up now. I think this album's from about 2007, something. No, 2011, I think.
Yeah.
Constant Pageant, and they're a lovely sort of quite. The sound is quite sort of Celtic. It's very moody folk music, and they've recorded with Bonnie Prince Billy.
Yeah.
So they have probably about half a dozen albums, I think, and a couple of EPs, but most of them, unfortunately, are on just on CD. But this one isn't.
So
It's on the Honest John's record label.
Yeah. In what sort of genre of folk music are we tapping into? Is it like more traditional British revival, or sort of is it indie folk-ish, or
It's I would say it's more sort of indie folk. I mean, they're all composed songs. There's there aren't traditional sort of tunes that in their discography as such. I mean, they released an absolutely brilliant EP. It might have been their debut, and it's called Carbeth, and it is really lovely. And they take an inspiration from the landscape. So, across their records, there are quite a few titles that refer to landscapes, rivers, hills, etc. And that's kind of where they're coming from. And they're definitely worth a listen.
Yeah, that's no, that sounds interesting. I didn't know about that band or album at all, so it's cool.
Yeah. Trembling Bells. That's the Constant Pageant. Yeah.
So, Romu, have you got a new discovery that you
No,
want
I also wanted to talk about Bonnie Prince Billy because that's a modern artist. I just discovered thanks to you, and I went online and listened to that first album with the skull, and
to?
it's it's
Yes. I'll be exploring that one definitely.
Yeah, because you see, Mike, I bully Romu online on WhatsApp every day.
He told me that that's what you do.
I'm a WhatsApp bully. No, we have some really great conversations almost not every day, but nearly every day. Yeah, because the thing. I post records that I'm playing. I'm like, I take a picture of something, and we all do that. I guess. I mean, it's something that we all do, but it's kind of a way of keeping in touch with people without really trying too hard. Like you posting a picture, you say, I'm playing this, and then people go, oh, that's cool, that's interesting, and then there's an interaction that happens, which is really nice, because you can get. It's quite easy to otherwise sometimes not talk, so you could easily not, but it's a great way of interacting here. Whose turn is it? Do you want to go, Romu? You have something that you
no,
want
I don't have record to show for this category or.
Right. What are we actually talking about now? Is this sort of modern folk?
Feel free to go back if you want.
Yeah. Because
I've got. Oh yeah, you go.
Oh yeah.
The L Service, a Garland song. It gets a very brief mention in Electric Eden, and you can probably tell from the cover that it's very psyche folk. And I think this was their only album. I could be mistaken, but it's it's really, you know, it's really quite interesting. You know, it's the sort of thing, if you like the Incredible String Band, you know, you would like these guys.
It's that kind of twisted mental.
Yeah, or actually, probably they're more reminiscent of Trees.
Trees, yeah, great
Yeah,
band. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
on,
because you
on the
know there's a lot
shore.
of female vocals on this.
Yeah, you know what a wonderful band, Trees. Yeah, they sounded a little bit like Fairport Convention, to be honest. At times, they had this kind of same the their especially their rhythm section tended to be very in line with Fairport. I thought, yeah, On the Shore and The Garden of Jane Delaunay was the other album, I think.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the girl went on to be the voice of the Northern Line in London. She got on the Northern Line. It's her. It's the girl from Trees.
Oh,
She does.
really? Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah. That's.
Excellent.
I'm not even. This is now since you're uh, comparing a modern band to an old band from back in. I want to segue this,
Yeah.
and I I want to talk about this band which I love, which is called Espers.
Ooh.
Um, yeah. So just a little bit of backstory. Espers, they're a band. Well, they were a band. I don't know if they're a band anymore. They're from Philadelphia, and they comprised of this singer-songwriter called Greg Weeks and this girl, this female singer called Meg Baird. And I discovered them in 2005, 4 or 5. This came out in 2005. They're part of this thing called the New Weird American Movement. Back in the day, there was kind of a freak folk movement back in America. Devendra Banhart, John Newsom, Jackie O Motherfucker. There was lots of really Animal Collective. They're part of a kind of a new school of American folk music, if you like. They sound like a modern version of Pentangle. In fact, I always call them Cosmic Pentangle because it's the music on there is totally cosmic, and it's this folk jazz kind of mixture. It's very hard to pinpoint what's happening there. There's so many kind of really cosmic songs on this. It's folk music, but with a real kind of psychedelic tinge. Anyway, all this to say that recently, this is their best album. This is Esper's #2. You can see the #2 is there. I'm not showing you this because that's going to reflect, but it's got about, I don't know, all songs on this are 10 out of 10. They're brilliant. But recently, probably, I don't know, a month ago, I finally picked up their very first their second record, which is The Weed Tree. It's interesting because it's a collection of covers of covers from that range from all styles. So there's Rosemary Lane, which is obviously Bert Jansch track, but then you've got Black is the Color, which was Terry Callier, I think. And you've got this wonderful cover here of Afraid by Nico, which appears on the on her album. What's it called? The album when she's on the horse on the cover. The name doesn't come back to me right now. And then there's also a cover of Flaming Telepath from the Blue Oyster Cult. So it's a really weird collection of tracks. But if you have, a minute, Afraid, the Nico track is absolutely gorgeous. It's just everything I love about folk music. So they were from, as I say, Philadelphia. This was just reissued probably a couple of years ago. And it's not quite as good as #2, but it's a nice collection of covers. And except for the last song, Dead King, which is one of their songs. But honestly, Afraid by Nico, and this is off the charts good. I keep singing, like I'm walking around the house and singing the song in my head. You know what it's like sometimes a song which becomes an earworm. It's
Yeah.
really, really great. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What's
that's
your
good.
what's
Yeah.
what's your take, Mike, on Daisy Rickman?
On what? Sorry.
I don't have the album. Fred, you got yourself a copy
Wait,
of
which one?
Daisy Rickman.
I don't
I
really
thought
know.
I
I,
thought you were talking about that with
uh,
was it you or
you know what?
This.
yeah or yeah or during
No,
my
no, I don't.
okay.
I don't know Daisy Rickman at all. I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
she's from Cornwall, and she plays a sort of a pagan psychedelic folk, very much in line with Nico or Bridget St. She reminds me very much of Bridget St. John on Songs for the Gentleman,
Oh,
a first album. It's a very, very similar brand of folk music. Stunty that alerted me onto this record, and he said it's really great. You should get it. And well, I bought it directly of the label, and I think he's still there's a new reissue of it. I think it's still gettable, but it's wonderful. It's pagan psychedelic folk, very kind of dark. She plays everything herself. Everything. Like you look at the credit, she plays vocals, 12-string guitar, double bass, drums, percussion, sitar, cello, bouzouki, banjo, accordion, clarinet, fiddle, and synth. And she just
wow,
records
that
herself.
sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cool. It's very much, as I said, when I listened to it the first time, I thought Bridget St. John just came to me straight away because I love that record, Songs for Gentlemen. I think yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, my organization is very good. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that record there. That record there is a bomb. I mean, it's a masterpiece.
It's absolutely lovely. It's an essential, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a song on this called "Back to Stay," which is a John Martin song, which I just think is one of the 10 best songs in the world ever. it's so good. It's I just and I'm gonna say, "Afraid." This song on the Nico song is not far off in terms of the melody. That's probably why I love it so much. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Desert Shore. Thank you, Sylvain.
Sylvain, merci Sylvain.
I
Thank
couldn't remember the name of the Nico on a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
that sounds really interesting. You mentioned Animal Collective in passing.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just dragged this out. This is Prospect Hummer. And this is the one with Vashti on vocals.
Okay. You know that the second Vashti look aftering was made with Animal Collective too.
Yes,
You know,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Was made with them. Yeah.
Yes, I fairly recently bought a reissue of Look Aftering, and I think it's a great album.
So tell us about this one. What did you think?
Well, it's kind of wonderful. I think it's on for what it's worth. It's on lovely green yellow vinyl.
It sounds much better when you play it.
Yeah. It just sounds so good. Yeah. It's the green and yellow that does it. But yeah. I mean, Animal Collective, I think, are one of those bands that you have to take the time to really appreciate them. And and I think that Vashti Bunyan's vocals really.
That is a great record. Sometimes, yeah. Strawberry Jam is very good too. Merryweather Post Pavilion is superb as well. It's very psychedelic though, super psychedelic. Sounds like the Beach Boys a little bit. And this EP is wonderful too. Fall Be Kind. But I think my favorite Animal Collective thing is Panda Bear's Person Pitch, the solo record from Panda Bear from 2007.
I never heard of Animal Collective.
Oh my god!
I never heard.
So when you think, okay, so historically, it's interesting because, as I said, there was this new weird American movement, which was also known as freak folk, and it was
Yeah.
spearheaded by this guy called Devendra Banhart. I don't know if you know Devendra Banhart, but I think he's one of these artists that is a bit polarizing at times. He is the second coming of David Mark Bolan and Vashti Bunyan. He was responsible basically for bringing Vashti Bunyan back to light in the 2000s. He absolutely championed her to the point where she became important again because her album was completely lost. And Devendra Banhart managed to get her out of the corridors of oblivion, basically. And this is the Devendra album, Cripple Crow. Not his best album, but one of his albums. And so the music is very naive. It's very folk, psychedelic. It does sound like the early version of T-Rex. You know, like the very first iteration of T-Rex with Poland,
Tyrannosaurus Rex, yeah.
and the bongos. You know,
Yeah.
that's what Devendra Banhart
Okay.
sounds like.
Oh,
He brought Vashti Bunyan out of obscurity, and then on the same scene, Animal Collective rose from the same kind of scene, and they made the same type of music, freak folk, like very, very heavily inspired by drugs, kind of folk music, and that kind of incredible string band, Vashti Bunyan, big influences, Donovan,
Roy
early
Harper.
T-Rex.
Roy Harper, yeah.
That was basically the bass influence. Then you had John Newsom, who basically aped, if and nothing else, English folk. Her albums are spellbinding. Her first record, The Milk Eye Mender, Ease, which I've got there on the shelf somewhere. They're all really amazing, kind of very textured harp records. She sings and plays the harp at the same time. It's just something to behold. So all this movement rose out of the early 2000s. And back then, Espers, for example, which I was talking, I was fascinated by that music at that time. So I actually bought a lot of those records, and that's why I'm talking about it. So, like I know what I'm talking about for once. but the Animal Collective and the Vashti Bunyan collaboration was not a fluke. It is that she was brought back out of obscurity by them, basically. They championed her massively, and she was. It's like with Tim Buckley in the UK. Without Ivo Watts Russell, the label boss of 4AD, Tim Buckley would have never got a revival. It's because of him that he was made popular again. So it's the same kind of story,
Right.
where they actually dug her out, and people said, "Oh, we need this record now. we need a Bunyan record," which you can find. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I must say that I bought Prospect Hummer purely because Vashti was on the vocals.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But sorry, it was kind of a talk fest. It's my teacher mode. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's Saturday. It's Saturday.
I can't help. It's just
Give yourself a rest or a
teacher mode.
Sunday
That's
morning
what-
for you.
That's what I do for a job. So I was like, blah blah blah. But I want to react to the comment from A Perfect Prescription. Sunburn and Have a Man was also another very important. They were more psychedelic than folk, but they were very, very. And there was another band called Comets on Fire. I don't know if you have heard of Comets on Fire. I think I've got the CD somewhere. I don't know why I've got all these things in front of me there. Have you heard of Comets on Fire? Here.
No.
That's not folk music. It's really psych rock, but very, very jam-based psych rock. And what's interesting, what links this band to the freak folk or the folk movement, is that the guy who plays in there, the main guy, is a guy called Ben Chasney, and he runs an act called Six Organs of Admittance. And
I've heard of them, yes.
a very, very long-standing folk, freak folk, psychedelic folk band. He also does records in the sort of American primitive style. And so there's multiple kind of like cross-pollination there. Sorry, there's too much information running here. Sorry. Yeah. But
Yes, yeah, that's right. I've got an interesting collaboration here, and it's the Freakons.
The Freakons.
The Freakons, yes, and the Freakons are a collaboration between the Leeds-based art school post-punks, the Mekons, and the American folk band Freakwater. And I don't know if you know, I mean, the Mekons were very much sort of, part of the punk scene.
They're from Leeds as well, aren't they? They're Leeds band, aren't they? The Mekons?
Leeds band, yeah, sort of part of the sort of Leeds art school scene. So, you'd get them, Gang of Four, most notably. But their music sort of drifted towards sort of Americana over the years, and this is an album that came out a couple of years ago, and it's coal mining songs from both sides of the Atlantic. It's got a lovely cover here. So there's what have we got? Yeah, Dark Lords of the Mine. There's a lovely version of Black Leg Miner on here as well. Yeah. So yes, that's it. Yeah. That was sort of part of their. They were transitioning away from
country punk.
Post-punk.
Yeah, country folk, country punk.
Yeah.
That's
it. Yeah.
I haven't played this for ages, but it's seemingly an original pressing. But I haven't played for so long. I probably will now.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me.
Good.
The Freakons, yeah.
So just the one album, and I don't know if there'll be any more, but it's really, really good stuff. And the theme is coal mining.
Coal mining, yeah. Okay. In the scheme of new things, not new things, newish. No, maybe. Well, something that I've been listening. No, it's not new at all. I've been listening a lot to Bill Callahan, Smog. I think you would know Smog, Bill Callahan.
Yep.
So Bill Callahan, he's an American singer-songwriter. He, like Bonnie Prince Billy, has a huge discography. If you're going to buy one Bill Callahan album, make it this one. This is one of my favorite albums ever. This if I was making a top 100 albums of in my life, I would probably include this 100% in it. A River Ain't Too Much to Love. It came out in 2005. But all this to say that I've recently rediscovered another one of his albums that I've got on CD, but I haven't. It's one of these albums that I've played on and off here and there, and I sort of got, I don't know why, recently a bit more into it. And it's like sometimes you've got something on your shelf that you were kind of neglecting, and you sort of go back. I don't know does that happen to you? It happened to me all the time. You got stuff and you go, oh, I haven't played this for a while. And so this album here, Sometimes I Wish We Were an Eagle. That's the album that he released directly, I think, after the one that I've showed you. But this one is under the name Bill Callahan. That is, the album I showed you here is the last album under the name Smog. And this is his first album under the name Bill Callahan. It's the same artist, basically. But we have a brand of indie, folky, alternative country-ish. For me, for my money, he sounds like a modern version of Leonard Cohen, basically. He has the same vocal inflections. The music is equally inventive. It's poetic. He has a sense of humor. The songs are quite funny at times when you listen to it. So that album, these two albums here, if you've never got into Smog or Bill Callahan, these are for me, these two best records, basically. But this is one really, really, really wonderful record. Really top notch. Yeah, alternative folk. Yeah, Leonard Cohen-esque folk. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm showing all sorts of stuff that I never imagined I'd be showing today.
That's what
While you were talking, I was.
you invite me on the stream. You're gonna show some shit.
Yeah.
I haven't stayed up for nothing. It's good.
Yeah. Wild Billy Childish.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Wild Bill Childish.
Yeah. It's the Wild Billy and the Chatham Singers, Kings of the Medway Delta.
Yeah.
This is very much an Americana album.
He's made so many different styles of music, Wild Bill Childish. Some of it sounds rockabilly. Some of it is skiffle. Some of it is like a garage rock. Some of it is country. Some of it is it's very very confusing discography. It's not a lot of. I have a couple of his albums, but I don't even know what they sound like anymore.
Well, I mean, this is the William Loveday intention, and this is more sort of bluesy. Yeah, and then you've got Wild Billy Childish and the Black Hand.
Yeah,
which again is sort of more of a sort of punky album.
Yeah, that's what
it's an absolutely brilliant live album. It's really good. It's very lo-fi, and it's fantastic. So it was it was recorded in Holland at various gigs in 1990 in May 1993. So this is really nice. This was a bit of VTLT I got from Nick's Vinyl Botty.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not surprised.
I think before you mentioned, I think it was you, Mike. I'm not sure. I don't think it was Romu, but I think you mentioned Billy Bragg before, and
yes,
I hear some Billy Bragg in Billy Childish as well. There is something there too, Like I think Billy Bragg has.
Yeah, I think there's a certain iteration of sort of Wild Billy Childish, which is what you might describe as a bloke with a guitar.
Correct.
And that's very Billy Braggish. Yeah, I was going to drag out sort of Billy Bragg because Danny Thompson plays on a couple of Billy Bragg albums.
Okay.
Not
the ones that I think.
I think he's on Talking to the Taxman about poetry.
Yeah.
And can't remember the other one. I can't remember what else is on. But Danny Thompson just cropped up everywhere, didn't he? Over the decades.
Billy Bragg is kind of almost a national treasure in the UK, like this kind of one man. It just to me, it's like a one man Clash. It's like if the Clash was a band with one person, it would be Billy Bragg, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, Billy Bragg is sort of very much a sort of a political person. He's a political agitator. He would certainly be on the right side of the barricades, and
that's right.
so things like Rock Against Racism, for instance.
Yeah. That's
right.
And
Red Wedge. I mean, he was. I think he was a founding member of Red Wedge.
My first school as a teacher, my first proper job was in Dagenham, where Billy Bragg is from.
Right, yeah.
So I I'm familiar with Billy Bragg to a certain extent. I've got some of his records. His first album, was it Back to the Basics? Is it called the orange one, with
The orange one is Spy versus Spy. It's really an EP, isn't it? It's a very short album. Yeah.
With the Milkman of Human Kindness and New England. That's just one of the best little EPs that you would ever. It's just so. Like, I think Romu would really, really love Billy Bragg. I think it would really be up your alley.
I think the early stuff, the early stuff for me, does it. But when you're talking about Spy versus Spy, the guitar, it's as though.
Yeah, it's like the Clash. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, it's as though he's playing the guitar in a room with too much echo, and it kind of really enhances the the guitar work there, and it's just mainly just him and his guitar, and so New England was covered by Kirsty MacColl, of course. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
That's from 1986. 86. Okay.
Yeah, and that was his debut.
Yeah, The Milkman of Human Kindness and New England. That's a fantastic song too.
Yeah. Richard is a really good track as well.
Yeah, Richard as well. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Bragg.
Yeah, it was Workers' Playtime. That was the other one that I think Danny Thompson is on.
Yeah, I think this here is 2 EPs into what I think it's what it is, isn't it? Because it's Life's a Right with Spy versus Spy. I think it's two.
No, it was released. It was released as that.
Okay,
just as a single EP, and it was and it was cheap. It's got sort of my copy has sort of pay no more than $1.99 or something like that on it. But it's a very, very
okay.
good.
Keep in mind, never heard of Billy Bragg. I keep in mind,
yeah.
Greetings to you brunettes. That's a great song too.
Yeah. Levi Stubbs' Tears. That's another one.
Yeah.
But the only reservation I have about Billy Bragg is that he tends to slip into a cappella a bit too often for my liking.
Yeah.
I mean, is it just me, or does it not really work?
But I don't know. I can see what you're saying. Yeah. It's
But that's not to detract from Guy, because he's a great artist.
A lot of very dynamic discussions.
I really like it. Yeah.
This is
have some topics, but I was expecting some open discussion with you guys. Which is really pleasant.
Yeah, it's been good fun. I've been having to get up and down all the time to find records that you put in my mind.
Here's a nice little folk thing that you probably enjoy, Dorothy. Dorothy Carter is a name. It's called Whaley. It's a dulcimer folk record. It's very psychedelic. It's a bit like, she sounds like a bit like Joni Mitchell, a little bit, but she has this kind of like very angelic, very high pitched voice. And this was originally released back in the late 70s, I think 78, private pressed back in, and that's from the same area. It's from Massachusetts. I was talking about Kath Bloom before, being from New Hampshire. This is the same kind of like part of America. And these records were re-released last year or the year before. And they're very, very delicate kind of, private press, dulcimer-led folk music, a la Joni Mitchell, a la, that's the kind of, sound that you get there. And I have it here at my feet, and I thought, might as well show these kinds of records that might be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Whaley Whaley is one of those songs that crops up quite a lot. And, people's people's records. Yeah.
And no, there's plenty of folk music. Another one that I've been listening to quite a bit recently, a new record that I picked up a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago, is this album by Simon Joyner. Like, he's kind of in the Bill Callahan mold a little bit. He's got a huge discography as well, like enormous, lots and lots of folk, country folk records. And this is the latest one of his discography. I think it's from 2024. I think he's from somewhere in the south of America, somewhere. I can't remember. No, he's from, he's from Nebraska. He's from Omaha in Nebraska. And sort of a country, a little bit Leonard Cohen-esque as well. Quite nice, quite a nice record. I don't know, I just picked it up because it was just there and cheap, and I thought, I'll just give it a go. But it's not the greatest thing in the world either. It's interesting enough, I mean, that's a valid question. How many things that we keep are the greatest things? Not very many. There's not very many, of these records that you would name. But this is a record collection. It's made of a lot of records that are good, very good, okay records. It's a spectrum, yeah. And the love for Richard Dawson, Richard Dawson is awesome.
Yeah.
Also a huge discography, like quite a big discography. But
yeah, I think Richard Dawson's got an album out very shortly, or maybe it's been released very recently. But I'm sure I saw something recently. This
too, I've been playing a bit recently, and that's in the folk idiom as well. This is Megabass Flamenca, so it won't tell you very much. This guy is from Belgium, and he plays squarely what you would call American primitive music. That is, I don't know if you've heard of John Fahey or Robbie Basho or people of that ilk. They were American acoustic guitar musicians who made instrumental music based on bluegrass, folk, Indian raga, and classical music. You get this kind of like dynamic mixture of very, very open string kind of symphonies, where you've got a lot of very inventive playing, because, well, the guitar is not a very big instrument, so there's lots of open tunings and very ringing strings, and it sounds like it will end up sounding like a sitar a little bit in the end. And this guy brings a modern take on that idea of American primitive. He's from Belgium, and that's one of his recent records, 2024. Very sort of acoustic, like solo acoustic guitar, no vocals, just him just going on scales, and very, very deep music, very spiritual, but could be
lovely. Yeah, that sounds great. You see, you've just done it again, Fred. I've just had to pull another album out because you mentioned American Primitive.
Yeah,
this is Gwyneth Raymond. She's Welsh.
I ordered one of her albums this morning. You would not believe.
Oh, the latest one. The latest one is really good.
And Romu, we need to tell Romu because the label is in Toronto, and you can get those records really easily. There's only like on Bandcamp 24 left or something. It's an amazing little record.
Okay.
That latest one. Let's Mike tell you about Gwyneth Raymond.
Yeah. I mean, she's got a degree, I think, in astrophysics, or maybe a doctorate even, as well as being an absolutely brilliant guitarist. So
American primitive guitarist.
Yeah, it's American primitive, style, and she's absolutely brilliant at it. And I mean, this album, I think it's the second album. It's the first one that I sort of discovered of hers, Strange Lights Over Garth Mountain, which alludes to some apparent UFO sightings over a Welsh mountain. And if you watch any of the videos from this album on YouTube, they are very sort of very creepy, sort of gothic videos. Yeah,
This record, Romu,
Mhm.
is in Canada. It's
yeah,
American Primitive. It's $25, and you can get it for another. I'm just showing Romu because he can get this quite easily. It's gonna
yeah.
come out soon. Anyway, carry on, Mike.
Yeah, sorry, I've got a copy of it up here somewhere. Oh, no, I won't drag it up. But yeah, she's just absolutely wonderful. And she was in a post-punk band to start with. I think down in Brighton. I think
Yeah,
it
it's
was.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. But you know, she's unique. I think that her guitar playing is just out of this world.
Well, you'd like Mega Bass
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, I think it's in the same. Well,
Yeah,
not exactly. It's more ambient. Mega Bass is more ambient than this, but
right.
enjoy it. Well, yeah. It's
Yeah, yeah. Well. As soon as you said American Primitive, I thought yeah, Gwyneth Raymond. Also, you're ordering the latest album then. Very good.
I did this morning. Yeah.
Yeah,
A friend of mine posted on a WhatsApp thing, and I looked at it, and I went online and listened to it, and I thought, oh yeah, and I looked on Bandcamp, and there was like 24 copies. There's a pressing of 1,000. There's like 25 copies left. I'm going to buy a copy, and they were located in Toronto. As the label is called I can't remember the name of the label now, but the label is in Toronto. And I thought, well, since I'm ordering an album from Toronto, I just looked on the label, and I ordered like 2 or 3 other releases from the same label on Bandcamp. I thought I'll just give them some money and at the same time, and the shipping wasn't so bad either. It was okay. So I was like,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for the tips. That piques my curiosity, of course. Yeah.
But we've tapped into a lot of musical styles here. My God, we've gone.
Yeah.
How long have we been going? 2 hours and 12 minutes.
2 hours, 12 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, we can.
Yeah.
I've got nowhere to
Of
be.
the random stuff. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
how long have you got?
I've got nowhere to be at the moment. I mean, I'm home. It's 11:15 at night. My girlfriend's not here tonight, so I'm like, I can just, because usually at night like this, it's a bit of a bother because I disturb, like, she's trying to sleep, and I'm talking to strangers on the internet.
Yeah.
But because I'm in the lounge here, I'm in my lounge. It's like it's difficult to find a good spot with light. But now tonight she's not here, so I'm like, hey.
And it was the only moment to have the two of you guys on my panel. So
Yes. The time zones are dreadful, aren't they?
Yeah.
To get the 3 of us together.
It's a little bit early in the morning over here on the East Coast to do a stream, but people will catch up later. It's
Yeah.
Sure.
I think in the UK, I'm between you two guys, aren't I? Because it's it's the afternoon here. It's about 2:15 in the afternoon here now. So yeah. But it's worth the effort, isn't it? It's worth the effort to have these discussions.
Absolutely, yeah.
Have you heard of a folk duo called Native Harrow?
No, I don't think so.
Right, they're a husband and wife, Native Harrow, and this is a called Old Kind of Magic. But they're originally from New York State, and a couple of years ago they relocated down to Sussex, a place called Ditchley, which is just outside of Brighton. And they write their own stuff, and I mean, all I can really say about them is that they're just really good. So it's Devin Teal and Stephen Harms, the people involved, and they write the music together, and then Devin Toole, she writes the lyrics. But yeah, it's very good. And this one I picked up. They did an in-store at Jumbo Records in Leeds, and so
Sign your record.
I've got a signed copy. Yeah, and they did a little in-store set, and they were absolutely wonderful. But they've not actually played any gigs in Leeds, so or even close, I think. So I've never had the chance to see them, but they've got about 4 or 5 albums out, and again, it's that sort of singer-songwriter folk music, and they're wonderful. That's all I can say.
What? Because we started off talking about folk music from the world, and we're talking about American primitive, and these two ideas joined in my head. I have here in front the computer here is resting on 2 box of my new acquisitions and things that I've been playing recently. And I was in France in June. I went to France for 3 weeks from June to July, and I bought about 50 records in France. And whilst I was traveling, I went to this place called Annecy, which is in the Alps. And I was in this really lovely record store in Annecy. It's a small town, but the record store packed so much punch. It was just an incredible little place packed with really, really cool soul, funk, reggae, Afro, all sorts of really, really dynamic stuff. And in the African crate, I found a copy of this Francis Bébé. Maybe you can make me big. So this is Francis Bébé, Balade Africaine. So this is again, it's an African record of solo acoustic guitar. Mostly, he sings a bit on it, but it's very close to American primitive. It's that kind of idea. Francis Bébé, in case you don't know, was a teacher, writer, ethnomusicologist, musician, writer. I don't know if I said writer. And he was from Cameroon, and he had a job as the head of musicology in the UNESCO in Paris. And so he was very, very learned about all sorts of music. He made all sorts of records with pygmy flutes and thumb pianos and all sorts of synths, and his discography is very vast. There's a lot of things, very humorous as well. But this here is just they're just songs to liberation of Africa, written between 1962 and 1975 on acoustic guitar. Yeah, so very much in that folk tradition, but kind of a little bit different.
Yeah.
Bébé. Thank you. It is the most recent thing they released about Francis Bébé is this here. If you ever want to get into Francis Bébé, this was released just this year. It's a compilation.
I'm sure I've seen that cover. Yeah, so I'm sure I'll be able to get hold of it. Yeah.
Same artist, yeah, very cool. But different type of music on this one. It's more, it's kind of like more. It's a little funkier, a little more, little rootsier, I'd say.
That's a record I recently acquired. That's something from my hometown.
Wow, that's cool.
An album called Geranium, which is probably the cheesiest name ever for a band. Geranium, those are the traditional flower. They
geranium. Yeah, it's the same in English.
On a balcony in Alsace. So this is an Alsatian group, folk music, highly inspired. Music highly inspired by incredible string band. This is a little bit different. This is, as you can see, puppetry or puppet theater, maybe inspired. So very gloomy atmosphere, and you have songs sung in French and in the local Alsatian dialect. And I never heard of this band until I read an article in the local newspaper online from the Alsatian paper, and saying this band
The
turns 50 years.
the
Sorry.
the, inc- the incredible Choucroute band.
Yeah, incredible sauerkraut band. Exactly. Yeah, saying
Yeah.
yeah, they kept a very very local. Since they sing Alsatians, couldn't have a nations wide success, obviously, but still there. This band do some local festival, and this is Geranium
Yeah. Yeah.
or Geranium. Or how am I? Yeah. Anyway,
It's
Geranium will do. That's the English way.
very cool sleeve anyway. Like the sleeve is very very interesting looking. Your dad brought that for you, did he?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, very good.
exactly.
Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I just remember that I bought an album about a month ago because uh, Joseph Isola showed it on
Yeah.
his channel.
I'm
And
responsible for having connected. Oh, you bought it.
I bought it. Yeah.
Fred bought it as well when he was in
Yeah.
Paris. Okay.
It's wonderful, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you get this one too? Did you at all get this as well or not?
I'm about to. That's on my list. It's available on this John, so I'll be
Johnson.
picking
Yeah.
it up. Yeah.
Carry
Yeah.
on.
I've had a
Yeah.
listen. Worth it. Yeah.
Tell us about that record. What did you think of Kristen Nogues?
Yeah. I mean, my introduction to sort of Breton folk is sort of very, very recent, but the sort of the connection to sort of particularly sort of Irish sort of Celtic folk music and Scottish is very, very strong indeed. But I just I just think this is lovely. It's kind of very stripped back, isn't it? And the playing is sort of how should I put it? It's very sort of deliberate. I don't think I've really explained this very well, but it's sort of you can hear every note being played, every string being plucked. You've got that, and it's very atmospheric, and yeah, I love it. I think it's really, really nice album. What do you think, Fred?
Yeah, I think it's not so much a Breton folk album when I hear it as a great French folk album that could have been
Right.
any kind of. I think it has this. The instrumentation is well, in principle is Breton, but it's not a million miles away from those kind of great folky masterpieces from the 70s and like it's got this kind of like grand, it's very ambitious as a record.
All right. Right.
Don't
Yeah.
you think? Or do you think or
I,
not?
I don't have a lot to compare it with, when it comes to French folk music. So I couldn't really say. So you guys, what do you think?
It's a bit like this. I don't know if you know this record here. It's a bit like
Emmanuel Parona.
Oh, I have that. I bought that about 2 months ago, and it's lovely, isn't it?
I think it's comparable to this. I think,
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
In some ways. So I mean, and this is certainly not a Breton sounding record,
No,
but it's got
it's trip hop before 10 years before.
Yes.
The song Topaz. Come on, the song Topaz.
There's one song that's very kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Don't know if I would call it trip hop personally, but it's very
Topaz.
it's yeah. I know what you're saying. I don't know if I would call. I mean, I know Joseph calls it trip hop, but I don't know if I necessarily relate to that description. But I know what you're saying. It's very. It doesn't sound like anything else from that time. Yeah, but I don't know what it is though. I just can't put my finger on it. I listen to it and I think, oh yeah, it's got this kind of funky groove to the folk, but it's difficult to pinpoint, but it's very cool in any
Yeah.
case. Yeah. Yeah. What else have we been listening to recently that's cool? Well, I've also listened to a lot of French folk, actually, French folk music. Um, I was listening to, before this stream, I was listening to Brigitte Fontaine, but I don't know where the record is. Go on. Here, maybe. Or not. I don't know. I've got, okay, well, maybe we'll show you this one instead. Here. This is kind of a French folk record-ish. It's Catherine de Forestier, music of Aziza. So, long story short, she's a French singer-songwriter. Her brother is more famous than she is. Her brother was a very well-known folk singer in France. And she went to America. She went to Morocco for 7 years. And she got basically, her mind just got blown away to Moroccan music, Gnawa, and kind of like very hypnotic kind of music. And then she made this record kind of solo with violin, percussions, and vocals. And it's basically a multi-layered kind of, it sounds like a Philip Glass record, but like done by a French woman. It's got this kind of Philip Glass kind of quality to it. It's no longer folk music. It started as a folk record, but it then evolves into a sort of very sort of minimalistic record, very sort of ahead of its record. Yeah, that I've been listening to quite a bit recently. But I had
I have her first album, or maybe one of the first album from the 70s, where on the cover she sits on the grass, which is more like Barbara inspired song, chanson française.
Yeah, it's not quite the same thing as
No,
this.
no. I had this record I was holding this record in my fair hands at Den Bosch, but it was the last day and I didn't have enough money.
Oh dear.
Put it back, and I've been regretting ever since.
Yeah, it's not very expensive that you can get it
No,
from.
but it's not very common either.
Jeez, that's a wonderful little piece of music. Brigitte Fontaine and Areski, obviously they made all the records together. Do you know Brigitte Fontaine, Mike? Do you know who she is?
I do. I've got a Brigitte Fontaine and the Rescue album somewhere.
Well, what makes the music interesting, apart from the fact that, well, it's fucking timeless, really. But let's get. What's interesting is that he brings this kind of, again, this North African sensibility to the music. It's avant folk, but it's got this very obvious kind of North African quality to the sound of the music. When it's paired up in a mixture, which is, it's quite original, because it is supposed to be French folk, but it's more than that. And what I love about Fontaine and Areski is that they always turn little, seemingly very deceptively simple songs into really layered masterpieces. Some of their songs have like a beat and just a little bit of guitar in the background, and you think that can't be a song. Then you listen to it and you think, fucking hell, that's everything is there. It's incredible. On this album, notably, there's a track called C'est Normal. That's the track there. C'est Normal. Where is it? Where are we?
Oh.
No. C'est
Side
Normal.
A, on side A, yeah, the last
Yeah,
one.
C'est Normal.
Yeah.
C'est Normal. So C'est Normal is just them humming a tune together, and there's a bit of drum in the background, and there's nothing. That's all they're doing, and then they sing on top. They don't even sing; they just talk on top, and it's the most amazing kind of little song. And you think, how do they do it? It's it's just incredible. There's so much talent in there. That's why she's so beloved, because she just made
Yeah.
music that it's unique. It's idiosyncratic, that music. It's totally
Yes.
like.
I can't remember the album that I've got by the
Was
pair
it
of them.
L'Incendie or Brigitte Fontaine-Folle, maybe, or maybe it might have
Yeah,
been.
I won't be able to remember, and it's not where I thought it was. So,
Yeah.
Or
It
maybe
might-
maybe the first one, Comme à la radio, with this where she wears a hat
Yeah.
on Sarava.
yeah. Hang on, it would come to me.
That was my go-to album to Brigitte Fontaine's. Me personally, not sure if it's the right first tape to the right way
That's
to
my
embark
go-to.
upon.
That's my go-to.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah.
That's my go-to. That's the
sounds-
best album they've released, in my opinion.
Right. Very good. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this,
I quite like her solo album. The one that the cover looks quite sort of psychedelic. It's quite.
Brigitte Fontaine est folle. Brigitte Fontaine is
Yeah,
crazy.
that's it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, this is the best for me. It's every song. It's so poetic as well. It's like you listen to it and you go, "It's just perfect." It's total folk perfection for me, in my opinion. But it's French too, so you relate more to the language, obviously, when you can hear what they're saying. I think Romu would love this too. Brigitte Fontaine et folle is really good too. But yeah, it's there's a lot to talk about. I started off with records on my feet and at my feet, and then I've got a million records on my feet.
Yeah. I've got a lot to put away now.
Oh yeah, but you know what? I don't really care. I mean, it's the fun of doing this. It's
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This has been great. This has been absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here's another one that I want just a random thing.
Okay, a last one, and I will be wrapping up. I don't want this stream to be 6 hours long this time.
Last one.
Yeah.
Here's a reissue of a rare Japanese record. Naoki Sushi. It is kind of it's kind of a bridge between psychedelic folk and dream pop, kind of sort of in the middle. So he's obviously a singer-songwriter, plays guitar, and the music is very delicate, very enchanting almost. It has this kind of you can hear some Mazzy Star and some that kind of very almost psychedelic pop sound, but it's all done through the lens of a acoustic guitar and him singing songs. It's almost a little bit ambient too. It's called 3. Came out originally in 2000 and maybe 1 or something, and it's been reissued just this year, basically, by World of Echo, which is a shop in near the Columbia Flower Market in London, which I've been to. World of Echo, yeah, it's very nice, very lovely. Naoki Sushi, folk record, but kind of like there's so much to like, and this is just folk that we're tapping into. Like we could just go on and on and on with other. We haven't even looked
absolutely. I'd like to make.
It's all about making connections, isn't it?
Yeah.
That one album reminds you of another, and then another, and then another.
Yeah.
And we would end up showing our entire record collections that way.
One last album, Mike, and then we will be wrapping up.
Yeah.
If you
okay. The very last one, and this is Lankum, Irish folk band.
Cool.
This is called Full Lankum, and this was a this was a special edition for Jumbo Records in Leeds, and one of the people that works in the shop, a young lady called Kelsey, is art school trained. She did this silkscreen print to go with the album.
Yeah, cool.
But it's very dark sort of folk music, very, very mysterious, Celtic music. And Lankham are just one of those bands there, possibly my favourite current folk bands. So there you go.
Yep. So I think it's time to hit the button. We've shown so many great records. Thank you guys for attending, participating, your time. Thanks to everyone in the chat, and maybe we'll do another episode next month. We'll see.
We'll have to. It's gonna have to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's ask.
This has been good fun, and I think between now and the next one, I'll be spending far too much money, Fred.
Yeah,
it's always the way, it's record collecting.
There is
you will be poorer.
This happens, whenever I watch Ben Rankins, I end up spending money. It's always the same. There are certain channels, and the people show stuff that piques my interest.
I stopped watching Ben Rankins' video because I'm losing my hair when I watch his video.
Yeah.
And sorry, bad joke. But yeah, probably next month after, because there is a record show, a record fair coming up in Montreal in mid-October. So maybe I will have a chance to fetch some of the copies we discussed.
Hello, Guido.
Hello, Guido, fellow member from the German vinyl community.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. So so let's ask the people in the chat, or people who will be watching later, which topics they want us to cover. Maybe would be nice. Yeah.
I would like to talk a little bit more about the non-European, non-North American folk music that's out there.
I think
we touched on it, didn't we?
I think Fred will be more than happy to.
We can do it.
To tackle this topic. Yeah. We can have a discussion, and maybe next month. So, thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Take care, and stay tuned for next chapter. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.